まさかのドゥームスレイヤー。
You've won. It's over. But it's come at a price. I am not the villain in this story. I do what I do because there is no choice. I don't expect you to agree. Our time is up. I can't kill you, but I won't have you standing in our way. Until we see each other again.
In Canada, the Thanksgiving holiday takes place in the middle of October, unlike the US which celebrates it in November. I think it happens earlier here because our crop harvest happens sooner due to the weather or something like that. I don't know. Now you're probably wondering why the hell am I talking about Canadian Thanksgiving in a video about Super Smash Bros. Well, Canadian Thanksgiving is in a few days, and I've been doing some thinking about what I'm thankful for. Now, as someone who is active in video game discussions, particularly around Nintendo games, the word thankful has become a bit of a dirty word, and that is due to one thing, and one thing only: Nintendo fans. Hoo boy. Now, I know not all Nintendo fans are bad, but every fanbase has its more extreme factions. And unfortunately, anytime you criticize Nintendo in even the most light and calm and rational manner possible, there is a chance a squadron of these guys will roll up on you and tell you you're just a whiny child, and that you're ungrateful or unthankful. Doesn't matter what the criticism is, doesn't matter how well grounded or reasoned your explanations are, you could write an Ivy League PhD thesis with a big ass annotated bibliography that cites the first copy of the Good Book of Jeebus, and still, for whatever reason, Nintendo is just above criticism, apparently. Listen, it's not that I'm not thankful or that I don't understand the ludicrous amount of work that goes into this stuff, but you have to understand that video games, however artful and wonderful they may be, are still products that cost money, and as an adult, I feel like that's how I have to look at it. Maybe if you're a kid that doesn't have to worry about that stuff, I can understand how the dynamic is different. Now, all that being said, I must say that in spite of all the characters I wanted that didn't make the cut because they needed more room for Fire Emblem characters, the reality is that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is something whose existence I can say that I'm thankful for, if we're talking big picture here. Ultimate is a phenomenal piece of media that brought an avalanche of gaming icons together, and by extension, their fans. It brought me and my friends closer together. Whether we were unified in loving a character or hating a character, it was fun for everyone, and that's what this is all about. I remember when this game was first announced back in 2018. It was such an incredibly exciting thing. I remember them showing off the base roster, which on its own was phenomenally massive. And then I saw my boy Snake rise up out of his stealth camo, and then the magic words appeared on the screen. Everyone is here. That was a huge deal. Monumentally huge. You guys remember Smash 4? Yeah, Snake wasn't in that. Piece of shit game. But you know who they would never put in? Ridley. He's too big. You cannot fit him in this game. That was a fucking lie. K. Rool, he's here too. You can't fool the rule. Belmont's Piranha Plant? Yeah, did you guys remember they put a fucking potted plant in this game? Then, on top of this already huge roster full of characters that people thought were impossible to put in the game, Nintendo announces this Fighters Pass full of even more characters coming to the game. I remember watching the Game Awards back in 2018 for some reason. For the sake of your mental health, I cannot advise you to watch the Game Awards ever. And they announced this character called Joker, and I was like, who the fuck is that? And then I went on Twitter and everyone just lost their shit. Apparently there's this video game called Persona that everybody loves, I think? I don't know. This is how I know I'm old. Somebody I've never heard of gets added to Smash and everyone around me is losing their minds and I'm just sitting here collecting dust and cobwebs and shit. The Fighters Pass was a sore spot for a lot of people, but at the same time, it was also a beacon of hope. It was the last chance in many of our eyes for a lot of our favorite characters to get in. For me, these passes actually ended up being a little underwhelming on the whole. The only characters I wanted were Banjo, Doomguy, Eggman, and Porky. Of those characters, one of them made the cut. Banjo coming to Smash was such a big deal and undoubtedly the biggest and most impressive addition of the past in my opinion. One of the greatest platforming mascots of all time whose series had just been completely shafted for over a decade and who had a lot of roots with respect to Nintendo. It was bigger than just another character, it was symbolic, therapeutic. And I know I'm not the only one who felt that way. Everyone went fucking bananas over this. Unfortunately, none of the other characters made it as a fighter, but one guy got close. Doomguy. He actually became a Mii fighter. I thought he would have been phenomenal as an actual character dashing around the map with his grapple hook shotgun, rocket jumping, and BFG final smash and shit. Like, even if you're in the camp of it doesn't just matter if they're iconic, but also that they're fun to play, Doomguy, in my opinion, is a major missed opportunity. That being said, I didn't expect to see him get acknowledged at all, and the Mii costume is incredibly detailed. He even has a shitty little pistol, so honestly, that was still pretty nice to see. Sakurai even went as far as to acknowledge his significance in the gaming industry, although I do still wonder why they wouldn't make him a fighter. Perhaps he's just way too violent. Nah, it's probably something else. In any case though, when you have a genre as popular as FPS with zero representation in the roster of a game intended to celebrate all games, ending off the game with a character from a genre that already had a notoriously rich amount of representation was a little underwhelming to me. Like if it was Crash Bandicoot instead of Sora, I would honestly have had the same reaction. But I know a lot of people who were blown away by Sora, and it was very nice to see them happy, and Nintendo should absolutely be applauded for going through a company that's somehow an even bigger dickhead than they are to get him into the game. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of the craziest shit in this game came from the supplementary content, like putting fucking Sans as a Mii fighter and Cuphead, and you got Megalovania and all the new music and new stages. It's a big fucking deal. I could write a big ass video essay about how maybe, you know, just maybe, there should have been one FPS rep as an actual fighter at the expense of just one of the many RPG or platformer characters. In fact, I almost did do that, but that's not the reality, and unless Smash 6 is some kind of masterpiece work of art like this game, it's very possible it will never be the reality. And that's fine, I've gone through the stages of grief, it's done, it's over, capiche. And once I reached the acceptance phase, I actually realized just how damn impressive this game really is. I think what a lot of us keep forgetting is that this game is still geared largely towards children. That's a big part of the demographic, even though we keep pretending that it's not in order to retain our sense of maturity. The bitter truth that every adult who plays Nintendo games must face is that they are playing games made by a children's video game company directed largely at children. That doesn't mean adults can't or shouldn't play these games or that they should even be ashamed of playing them, obviously. Like, I'm still out here playing fucking Kirby 64. That's always the caveat with series like these. You liked it since you were a kid, but as you became an adult, it still remained a children's series. It's not gonna grow up with us, and that's something we have to accept. I learned this lesson with Paper Mario, I learned it with SpongeBob, and I learned it with Super Smash Bros. And when you consider that, the stuff that's in the game is still fucking phenomenal. 89 characters, over 1,000 songs, over 100 stages, 0.393 teraflops. It's a fucking jam-packed game with a ridiculous amount of content, to the point that everybody who plays it should be able to find something that they like within this big-ass, spicy-ass beef stew. A game like this is the result of a ridiculous amount of collaboration, cooperation, dedication, insight, and hard-ass work. I don't generally like to express gratitude or thankfulness to a corporation because in the grand scheme of things, these are products which we buy with money. They're not gifts from our parents or friends. But Sakurai and the boys have done something phenomenal with this game that no other developer would have the balls to even attempt. It's a ludicrous crossover from all different corners of the game industry, and as a result, it brought people together and has the best community out of all of them.
When both Samuses have a charge blast, my butthole kind of puckers a little bit. I get so nervous. So let's all be glad that's not happening anymore, am I right, Prog?
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is such a remarkable piece of media that has remained a big deal for 3 years, and I'm sure it'll last for years to come. It'll forever bring me and my friends together, whether we're playing the game or complaining about the game or whatever. It's phenomenal and historical, and at the end of it all, it's a fun-ass game. Sakurai, thank you.